Hi, Neda. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you here with Eric and I. And I just feel honored to be able to interview you because neither Eric and I have done this at all really before. And so it's just a fun thing to be able to connect and hear more about your inspiration. And yeah, so yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. So great to see you both. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, you're pretty busy right now, right? You've got a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I just now gave my first online concert workshop reading type of thing in Spanish. Totally in Spanish.
Wow.
Like, oh my God. And it's only been a year and a half ago where I very clearly heard Spirit tell me that I needed to learn Spanish. It was like so clear, and I didn't really know why. I did think of like, okay, yeah, maybe in the future I can like sing Spanish songs or maybe teach
Mhm.
in Spanish or whatever. But I just heard like, okay, start to learn to speak Spanish. And I started and not really like putting so many hours into it. But then the moment that I got back from my tour, I was in the States for a tour, but I had to come back because of the virus and everything. That was I think a little bit over a month ago. And the moment I got back, it was like all the guidance that I received was just only for learning Spanish more and more and more and more.
Wow.
And then like 2 weeks ago, I got an invitation to do this class online. And the girl asked me, "Can you do it in Spanish?" Like I just saw she has many. She has David Hoffmeister as a teacher. She has Gary Renard. So like many English speaking teachers. So I don't really know why she asked me if I can do it in Spanish, but she asked me, "Can you do it in Spanish?" I was like, oh my gosh, of course I cannot do that. Of course I'm so not ready. I can't like I just started to learn Spanish. I can't teach in Spanish. And
Right.
that was like 2 weeks ago. But I could so hear the spirit say, like, no, you're ready. You can do this. You can do this.
Oh,
And like for the last 2 weeks, I just been studying my ass off like all day. All I heard was just to focus on Spanish. And I just did it. And I just could hear the spirit just speaking through me
wow.
in this
Oh my
completely
God.
new language to me. And like people were crying. We went on for an hour after that. It was actually supposed to stop. Like people just stayed and they wanted to hear more and they wanted to hear more. And I was like, oh my God, it's just so amazing to see things unfold when you follow the guidance. It's just like you guys now, like you say, yeah, you never interviewed anyone, but it's just something that you feel in your heart, like I need to do this, and beautiful things are coming from that because like we don't need to do anything ourselves, right? But the moment that we just have that purpose of I just want to extend the love of God, and the spirit will provide all the opportunities in which way we can do that, and we just need to be willing to listen and follow. And I love that there's so much joy involved with that listening and
Mm.
with that following, that it's not like a hard journey, like a tough, like, oh, and
Yeah.
everyone, for me, I was like, oh, I need to speak Spanish, I need to learn and speak Spanish. Oh, it was like, oh my gosh, I love this language, I love this. Every time I learn a new word, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this new word. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm very happy. So yeah, I was just busy with that, and
Oh,
other
God.
than that, just whatever the spirit is giving me right now. It's talking with you, beautiful angels. So
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's like a miracle. I mean, that is
I
amazing.
know, right?
I'm kind of
It's
shocked.
crazy.
Wow.
I was kind of shocked too when I like pressed. I was like, what? Oh my god! Did I just did that in Spanish?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was really funny. Like in the middle of the concert, I was like, wait, I need to check. Did any of you actually understood what I said? Or am I just thinking right now that I'm speaking Spanish and nobody's understanding crap of what I'm saying? Everyone's like, no, you're doing well. We love you. We love it.
We love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. Just needed to check.
Yeah, just checking, reality check.
Checking if I'm not talking something like completely different.
Yeah, like, is this actually happening? You just want a lucid moment. Yeah,
I know.
that's amazing. Wow, that's blows my mind right there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, life becomes magical when we just follow the guidance and see what comes from there.
That's it. Yeah, just trust.
So that reminds me, and you mentioned something for a moment about when you came to the U.S. and I don't know if you recall, but we were going to be one of the stops on the tour that got canceled essentially. In Ann Arbor.
Oh my gosh, shit.
And so, I mean, I just wanted to, thank you for sharing what you shared on Facebook, because you have shared some of that. And I was wondering if you wanted to share with us here, part of that as far as like how it was guided and how the meaning that you got, even though it didn't turn out like you expected it to turn out. But and also just, it seems like, it's really a testament to like you following guidance and like the process that it took to get here in the first place. So.
I know. Yeah, because I had my ticket for that Tuesday, and on Friday, that would be the last day that I could arrive in the States because of the block, the how you call it, the border travel ban. But I did really feel like, no, I have to go. I felt it, and yeah, and I went, and it was just. I was only there for 10 days in total instead of like 2.5 months. But every day it was like, okay, we're just going to take it day by day. And at that time it was changing so rapidly. I was like, okay, just day by day. And ever since the first day, I was already like, oh my God, if I have to leave tomorrow, this was like all worth it, because it was like, there were just so many miracles. With meeting just with beautiful mighty companions, even meeting a cousin of mine that I never even met before. He lives in Atlanta, but yeah, I just never met him, and oh man, I just loved him the moment I saw him and got to spend time. And coincidentally, there his mother, my aunt, who I do know, was there as well from Texas. Wow. And my other cousin from Sweden was there as well. It was like, it was just this whole reunion of my family, and it was just so beautiful. And then spending time with Ricky, who was organizing the tour, we just instantly had all of this healing come up, and it was like this mini retreat. It felt like we were together for months. It was just a couple of days. And then every time we just said, okay, day by day, we did feel to do the first concert we had planned in West Virginia, I think it was. And after we did that concert, we both felt like, I think that was the last concert. It was so clear. That was on Friday. It was like, oh my God, I think this is the last concert. And we both felt it. And then the next day we had the workshop, the voice liberation workshop. But already on that evening, after I did my concert, I already booked my flight back for that Sunday. It was like, oh my God, this is going to be the last one for now. And I didn't really feel any sadness or something. It was just like, yeah, all things have to work together for good. Like, there's no exceptions. So even this, it's part of a bigger picture that I don't know what's best for me. Apparently right now it's best for me to head back to Holland. And yeah, I might be coming back. I don't know. I do have my ticket for July that I already bought before. So we might reschedule everything that we couldn't make in the last couple of months. But I don't know. I really don't know until it's more clear. So I also don't know how that travel ban, how that is anymore right now. But I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, still many miracles, I feel. It's just the remembrance, like you said, it's all about the trust, and the trust that I really don't know what's best for me. Yeah, and to really trust that all things really work together for good, so that there's no loss, It's not like, oh, what a pity that I
Yeah.
had to go back home. Oh, like how terrible. And people will say like, oh, you must feel so bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
actually I don't, because what it's only in my judgment that, oh, that's terrible. Why is it terrible? It's neutral. I had a plan, but we can't really plan anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
yeah.
That is so beautiful. It's true. It's like this idea that, oh, it was canceled, so that must be a bad thing to have a tour canceled.
Right.
Versus if
Right.
you have the tour, then that's good, right? But we don't
Yeah.
know any of this.
I know. And even now I see like, okay, because it was canceled, I had the time to learn Spanish all day, every hour of the day. And I got to now give a concert in Spanish. I couldn't have done that if I was on tour, busy with the tour. I couldn't have put that much hours in my Spanish that I had now, So apparently that was guided for this moment, because that's what happened. And I always love how Byron Katie is always like, love what is, the universe. We're living in a friendly universe. I tend to hear her sweet voice like, oh, honey, who would you be without that story? And
Right.
and she would go like, oh, Corona, amazing. Oh, no Corona. Oh, amazing. Like everything is just amazing. And I mean, unless like, of course, we can't bypass our feelings. I mean, if I would have really felt sad, I would have need to allow myself to feel sad. That's okay too. We can't just bypass it. And you're allowed to feel bummed out, and you're allowed to feel all those things, because it's not useful to cover those things up, because we'll project it outwards.
Yeah. Like repressing or anything like that is just not.
Yeah, that's not helpful neither. But we don't have to feel those things. It's not necessary to feel it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I love it. Byron Katie is like, I look forward to.
Yeah, I look forward to the next time that the tour gets canceled.
Yay!
She's amazing.
Yes, she is. She is. I'm glad you mentioned her, because it's so great. But so yeah, and you've been doing online voice liberation, right? So, and how is that as opposed to doing it live with people? You've adapted to this, what is, as Byron Katie said. So how has that been for you? Like,
right. Yeah, I was surprised actually to experience how amazing it was, because I had kind of my ideas and thoughts about just Zoom and the online thing as it being not personal, or I don't know. I just have my thoughts about it. And I think also it was just more also fear, because I feel like, oh, I'm not good in those things, and I need to figure out all of that stuff, and I can't do that. But honestly, the first time that I did the online voice liberation session, it was just so beautiful. It's like, oh my God, I don't even really feel a difference, because our mind is so joined. I don't need that body here in the room. And plus, the beautiful thing is that now with those voice liberation sessions, I can have people from all over the world in my living room all at once, which is really beautiful. So, I mean, yeah, it's just different. Of course, it's also really nice to be able to touch someone and really you can have different exercises with that, and really use the space, and you can do different things. But so I feel it's just different, but it's definitely not worse or better. It's just different. It gives different possibilities. And seeing each other live gives different possibilities. So yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people who said that, or a few people who have said that they will continue with the online once everything, or if everything goes back to normal, they'll continue with that.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah. So yeah.
I was going to mention, so like I like the voice liberation brings up, to me, what like jumps out about it is like the collaboration, and one of the things I read on your website that really jumped out to me was this quote that you have that says, "I saw that making music wasn't a goal for me anymore. It became a way to connect with people and touch their heart." And I just wanted to, offer you gratitude for the work that you do beyond the voice liberation. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like for those in those sessions, Well, I can more than imagine because there's some of it shown in the Take Me Home documentary as well. But do you feel, to speak of some of the other like collaborative type work that you're involved with music? I know that you like to work with people in prisons on things like that.
Yeah, I love working in prison. I've been doing that now for 6 years in juvenile prison here in Holland. Also did it in Africa, in Malawi. And I give a concert in St. Quentin State Prison in San Francisco, which was amazing because they're all studying A Course in Miracles over there. They're just, oh my God, they're so amazing. They're just very far on their path. It's beautiful to see. But here in Holland, yeah, I've been teaching songwriting workshops, and it's basically, yeah, I feel I'm actually teaching what the course is teaching in prison. I'm just teaching them that they're innocent no matter what they did, and the music is just, it's like a tool for that because you get to talk, when we write a song, I want them to write about their life. So you get them to start talking about certain things. And just like the other day, I think maybe you read it on Facebook with that boy who was sharing about his dad, and that his dad did so many, just really, he just really had a very difficult childhood, and he couldn't forgive his dad for certain things. Yeah, he couldn't forgive his dad for certain things that he did to him and to his mother. And he was really in tears. He was like, I could never forgive him. I could never forgive him this. But underneath it, I could just feel that call for, I want to be free. I want to be released of this. So I told him, if you're gonna walk out of these prison doors with this grudge, with this grievance on your heart, you're not gonna be free. You're still gonna be in prison. And if you can find it in your heart to truly forgive this, you can be free even before you leave this prison, So I talked to him a little bit about what forgiveness truly means, and that it's for yourself, and it's for yourself to set you free. And we talked about the beliefs that are underneath the things that his father did, that I'd ask him, like, we just went through certain scenarios, and I asked him, what do you believe about yourself, to just take back those projections and seeing like, oh, actually that really hurt it because I feel that I'm not good enough, and I feel I'm not worthy of love, and I feel I'm abandoned. And in a moment, I'm just like, I have my whole bucket of love just showering over them. Like, you are so worthy, and you're so loved, and you're so innocent. And no matter what you did or what anyone did, it has nothing to do with who you are in truth. And you're still, as God created you, you're still perfect. And he had just had like tears in his eyes. And the next day he was just like beaming light, and he came in and he was like, you're right. I need to forgive my dad. And I can see it was just a call for love. And even the guards were saying like, what did you do with him? Because he was just so light. And so he was like really so grateful. He told me, thank you for this. And it's those things. And I have many more of those type of stories where it's just, I feel like prison is just such a beautiful backdrop for healing, And for me also, like, they really, I always feel like apparently I need that those extreme examples, because I'm like such a stubborn person.
Yeah.
Always
They
think,
are. Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm right. I know better and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I really need those like really extreme reflections of my
Right.
mind.
Right.
And they're giving that to me, like no filter, like my anger, my rage, my insecurity, my fears, like they're like in my face,
Yeah.
and I get to look at it and be like, okay, so that's going on in my mind. I'm always, when I'm going in there, I always tell them like I couldn't do this every day, because for me it's like a freaking retreat times 1,000. It's like a mental boot camp, because when I go in there for like, most of the times it's like a week, most of the times in the vacations, because a lot of times normally they just have school, right, because they're still minors. So I go in there when they have vacation and when they need like a creative program. And so we go there and we offer like all kinds of different workshops. And I always say it's like a boot camp for my mind. It's just a week long where I'm like, oh my God, okay, yes, it's all for me. I'm not the teacher there. I'm the student, they're just teaching me all
Like
the
it's so obvious. Like the symbol is so obvious. It's like, make it obvious. Okay. Here you go.
And it's so helpful. It's so helpful. And it's just really, for me, every time I go in there, it's like really the opportunity to teach only love, for that's what I am, to really put it to practice. It's just such an amazing backdrop, especially because they even been convicted to be guilty, so it's not even like for us outside, it's like unconscious, like, oh yeah, we know as Course in Miracles students, like, oh yeah, we believe in guilt and we believe that we're guilty. But for them, it's even like a judge actually told them that they are guilty, it's like so out there. And they even done things where everyone in the world would agree, like, yeah, then you're guilty, it's obvious, you killed someone, you're guilty,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just very interesting, and it's very helpful for my my mind training.
Yeah. It's like, they have this tangible proof where it's like, yeah, I've done the X and this is where I am as a result, and here I am, this is it. And you can come in and you can have a really strong, clear message because they have a really strong, clear symbol of, that's amazing. Wow. Thank you. Yeah. I know, I'm thinking of Byron Katie too, I think has spoken in prisons and had powerful.
Yeah, also in St. Quentin.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, most of them are so ready for it too. I mean, in juvenile prison, you still have like youngsters that they're still, they want to pretend that they're all tough and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
you give them an alternative. Like, oh yeah, you're innocent. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember also, like, last time that I was in prison, teaching in prison, it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was just so beautiful because I had another moment where I just realized, like, really all that we need to do is to be helpful, and that is to just really practice true empathy. Because before,
right.
Yeah, I really had that strong sense of the unhealed healer concept. So really like false empathy and really seeing someone else as like, oh, I need to help them, ever since like the first time I went to Africa, I was like 17 on this like mission and like to help people. And I was always like, I'm like, oh, I'm in a better place and I need to help the needy and the poor, and I need to help the whole world.
My light.
It looks really beautiful, right? It's like, oh, this young girl that is doing all of these beautiful things, but underneath it does come from this sense of false empathy, right? And it's actually not helpful to perceive something outside of us as helpless or as needy or as poor. So also in prison, I really had to practice that. In the beginning, it could frustrate me if I would see somebody talking so negative or really being so angry, and I would like want to change their mind. I would want to show them like, no, you are loved and you are loved, and why can't you see it like this, and just be more positive or be more this. And I see, like, now that now when I'm in there, it's like, it's like so relaxed because I know that whatever place they're in, it's the place where they need to be in this moment. And it's perfectly fine because there will come a point in their life where they're say like, I have enough of this pain and there has to be another way. Right. And for me to be
Right.
helpful to support that, the most helpful thing is to just perceive them as the perfect son of God, as that perfect child of God, as that perfect Christ, as that perfect love in need of nothing. And it's just so beautiful to listen to all their, because sometimes they can tell me like really fucked up shit, like really crazy stuff. And for me to just listen to it and be like, whatever you tell me, it really has no effect on who you are. You know, it cannot change who you are. Whatever you think you're gonna do in this dream, it's still not gonna change who you are and how God created you. You know, you don't have that power. You don't have that power. You can play all that tough and you can be this biggest guy here and go to the gym every day and work your biceps, but you don't have the power to change who you are, and you don't have the power to change who God is. Like, it's already set, you know. It's so that really gives me it's just a sense of relief.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. It's just see you as the truth, no matter what you're telling me. It's like, yeah, sure, tell me that you're gonna do all those crazy shit. I still know that you're perfect love and that you just want love. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. It's such a profound message too, because it kind of brings us back to center, like reset. You're perfect love, period. I know you. I know who you are. Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to change that.
Yeah.
Even if you would want it to, you can't change who you are in truth.
Yeah. And it's a good message for us too, like just on our daily basis, like, you know, for me and for Eric, you know, it's like we can't change it. We can't try to make something better or worse. It's just, what it is. It's just letting all things, accepting all things as they are. And that's beautiful. What a wonderful opportunity, to just teach and learn in that setting for yourself.
I think that's why the course says, you know, that it's not needed to look for love, you know, that's what you are, but it's just, we just need to look and find all the barriers we have put against the love that we are.
Right.
You know? It's that the love, we are love, we are perfect love, we're still as God created us. But if we still believe some other shit, and that's okay too, you know, like it's inevitable that eventually we'll fully remember who we are. Like a happy outcome is certain. It's already said. So it gives more of like a relief. And I feel that's where the true empathy can come from, you know, to remember that. And then from that place, it's not like it's like a laziness or a lack of interest. I feel even more sparked up and more fired up when I have that attitude. Because when I come from that false empathy, it's like, it's also like nothing is ever good enough, right? Because you're perceiving the world from the ego's point of view. So there always be more problems that are coming up, and you can never truly rest and just feel that certainty, feel that trust. It's always like, I have to do something in the world. I have to, you know, I have to change. I have to do, it's not good enough. I have to, you know, and
it's never good enough.
Very stressful. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can really, it's that sense of it's never going to be enough. If it's like, you can't, it's like letting go of control too. It's like, it seems like control, there's a lot of that underneath too, which I'm sure you encounter. I don't know, I'm trying to think. For questions for you, okay, so let's see.
Maybe Eric has a question. I see.
Let's give Eric a chance.
Well, I mean, I have other questions, but I think what was coming up for me a little bit was like, we kind of started talking about like efficiency a little bit, like we're dancing around like this need for efficiency and this need to be busy all the time. And it kind of felt that, we, of course, it's May 19th, 2020, and we're still have this thing that's appearing in the world, this larger thing with this pandemic that's appearing in the world. And I think that, how do you feel about it? I mean, I look at it that's one of the blessings that's coming from this, is that it's people are being forced to slow down in ways that they have not before. And it's leaving a lot of opportunity it's a lot of spaciousness for growth, really. I mean, and we can kind of look at that together. It's like giving everybody the opportunity to look at this need for efficiency so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's life like for you? I mean, how are you under like stay-at-home orders or anything like that where you're at? Or I know you're doing a lot online, but
yeah, well, it's kind of more flexible here. They did close down a lot of the stuff. They're starting it up now again, but like last month, like the schools were closed, and you couldn't really meet up with anyone. So it was more like staying home as much as you can, but it wasn't like Italy with like the whole army and everything outside, not like that. But a lot of things closed down. But I totally agree, with what you're saying, that it's just, I feel, like whatever the ego comes up with in this crazy dream, it's always the purpose of distracting our minds into looking outside for something. And like there is nothing that the ego can come up with that the spirit will be like, oh my gosh, this is too much, I can't handle this. No, like coronavirus, oh my God, they got me. Okay, I surrender. Because for the Holy Spirit, it's still an illusion. Like there's no order and difficulty in miracles. Like there's not a bigger illusion or a smaller illusion. So for the Spirit, it's like, okay, what we have on the menu today, it's like eat what is served. That's like the Spirit's thing, is like eat what is served. So whatever. Okay, so the corona. Okay, we'll work with that. It's like if we hand it over to the Spirit, I mean, for the Spirit's purpose, it can be amazing, and it's indeed, it's a time to go within, and it's a time to really just look at how you've been living your life and see, is that really how I wanted to live my life? So many people are finally getting, more quiet and getting more time with their families and getting more silent from within as well. Or, a lot of stuff is going to come up. For me as well, even before, I mean, I've always been working for myself. So I already had just the great, I mean, it was just amazing for me always to just feel whatever I wanted to do. I never could work for like a 9-to-5 job. That was never my thing. So I always had that vibe where I could just feel like, oh yeah, I want to work in prison that week. Oh yeah, I have a gig there. Or, oh yeah, now I want to do this. Oh, in the morning, sometimes, I feel like watching a movie. I'll watch a movie, I mean, it's like whatever the Spirit is telling me to do, I can do. But I do notice also, like you said, that feeling of that you have to do something. This whole coronavirus did put me in touch with even more. So like, sometimes I'm still doing that. I'm still feeling like I need to be busy or I need to do certain things. So it just gave an extra opportunity for me, at least, to truly, like I said, for instance, with the Spanish speaking, I feel like that's something that it just felt so guided, but it's something that maybe, if I had other things outside, it would maybe be like, oh yeah, I have some other things to do and then I'll get to it, or something like that. But yeah, I feel just with any and everything, it's just an opportunity for healing once we let it be interpreted by the Spirit. Because even the most beautiful thing, what we would judge is the most beautiful thing, when you give it to the ego, it's going to be messed up as well.
Right.
Even something that we could see as like, oh, that's really that we could judge. Everybody would say that's beautiful. If I right now give you $1 million, everyone would say that's something good. That's something good.
Yeah,
But
that's good for me. Yeah.
given to the ego, that's gonna be really messed up. Like whatever we give to the ego is gonna be messed up, and whatever we give to the spirit is just gonna be an amazing opportunity to undo those blocks. Like we said, like we're only here to undo those blocks to love's presence. So whatever we give to the spirit is just a tool, a classroom for that purpose and nothing more. It's just for that. And then everything becomes helpful. And then it's also like we just talked about with like the tour. It's like, okay, then, okay, so this is now being used for that purpose. And why wouldn't we want that? Don't we want to undo those blocks? If that is our purpose, if we decided upon that goal, we want to undo those blocks to love's presence because we had enough of the pain.
Yeah.
Imagine how many lives, if you're in this life, you're studying A Course in Miracles. Imagine how much shitty lives you must have already been through to get to this point where you're like, oh my God, where you actually have the motivation to study a book that crazy and like go through those lessons. I mean, you must already been having some shitty lives where you're like, I'm done with this crazy dream. I'm done. So, I mean, if that's your purpose for this life, that you want to return to love, then everything is helpful. Then why wouldn't that be welcomed, right?
Right. I love that attitude too. It's kind of like Ali Oxum free, come free. It's like everything is welcome here.
Yeah.
And that was my theme for yesterday. It was like, to welcome anything and let it all be there. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's beautiful. Yeah. I just,
you feel to pivot to the music at all? And would you like to talk about anything new on the horizon, I guess? Or I think I read something about Remember Your Dreaming.
Yes. Yes. Well, what do I want to say about that? Yeah, so I've been writing new songs. I have been over the last couple of years already. And it kept on going. And like I said, I'm a very stubborn person. I always think I know better. I always think I know better than spirit. That's like my first attitude. It's always like, I know better. You don't know. I don't have the patience.
I got it. Yeah.
I got this. I'll do it on my own. So yeah, I was getting impatient with this new album because I felt like, people are waiting for new music. They're already listened to The Light Has Come and they're beautiful songs. Even though I could feel that the album, not every song has come through yet. Because for me, how it works with songs, I always feel like they're not my songs, I always feel that they're just spirit songs and I'm just grateful to write them down, So I'll never really go and sit behind a piano and be like, okay, let me write a song. It never really goes like that. For me, it's always like I could feel a song coming. So sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'll tell my boyfriend like, hey, there's a song coming. Like I could feel it's almost like a guest and like he's on his way. And I'm like, oh wow, he's coming. Like I get all excited. Like, and then I go sit behind my piano and then it's like I'm welcoming the guest, he's coming. And I can't really force that timing. Like I never know when that is gonna come. It's just coming. So I did feel like, okay, it's not complete yet. There's more guests that are on its way, but they haven't arrived yet, right? Yeah, that all doesn't matter for me because I was just getting impatient. I was like, this needs to happen right now. I just started to try to see like, okay, which producers to work with. And even though I heard like to not work with the same producer, I still, eventually ended up with him. And there's just been lots of forgiveness around that because we were busy and working on it. And even though he's like so amazingly talented and he did such a great job on The Light Has Come, I just felt like it's not that anymore. This is I'm in a different place right now, and I actually,
Hmm.
my ego wanted
Yeah.
to make Remember Your Dreaming even bigger, and a big choir, and a big this, and even go all in. And I actually felt like, no, it actually needs to be less and more,
Mm.
really more silent and more within, and just a producer that really produces from with that purpose of awakening,
Mm.
and just something really different. But again, I didn't know what and where and how. um but there were more songs coming, so it's just been like a week ago where I heard from the producer that I got through Deva Premal, actually. It's a whole long story. You guys know Deva Premal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um,
Wow.
I ended
Okay.
up being in contact with her, and asking her if she knew someone for this album, if she could recommend me someone, and she recommended someone amazing to me. And
Wow.
yeah, it's still a little bit of surprise because it's all just very fresh and very new. But really, the moment that I finished the last song, that I felt like, yes, it's
Yeah.
finished right now. This is the last song. That was like a week ago, literally a week ago. And
Really? Oh my
it,
God.
it's finished now. Just amazing song. I think I have again now like 15 songs, 15 or 16, something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, yeah, it's finally finished. I could feel now that the party is complete. And and then I got an email from this producer that he's interested and he's in. So yeah, it's very exciting, on a new road again, and we'll see where it's going. But it's another opportunity to just remember to be patient, and to just hand it all over and not mind spirit business. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to start recording new songs because they're just so beautiful. They're so beautiful. And they're all like, it's not like the lightest come with like lyrics directly coming from the chorus, just like that. But they're inspired by the chorus, of course, like every song. And sometimes you'll hear something, if you know the chorus well, you'll recognize certain
Mm.
little phrases. Like I have this song where one part of the chorus is like, teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Well, who know the chorus know that that's from the chorus. um but
Yeah.
there are just
Yeah.
little things in there that I think people are gonna really love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I will love it. I'm sure. There's no
Yeah.
question about that. So that's that's interesting. So I didn't know that. So you just came out with your second album, and you have, and did you mention the title or of the album?
Remember You're Dreaming.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, Remember You're Dreaming. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I don't know when it's gonna come out yet.
Nice.
I don't know anything. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the money's coming from. I don't know who's gonna
Yeah.
musicians are coming in it. But I really learned from The Light Has Come that I really don't have to know, because that album really taught me to trust. That I really know, like, it's so not personal. It's not my album, so it's constantly like, I'm like, okay, if you want this music to be in the world,
Yeah.
I of course I feel like I'm very excited about it, but I do have to remind myself that it's not my album. Like before, like I said, I've been working for myself for so long.
Mhm.
Since I'm 17, I
Right.
never really had a boss or anything. I always been working for myself. And as free as that was, at the same time, it also used to give like some fear of like never really knowing where your money is coming from, and
Right. Yeah.
like just not having that sort of like safety, even though it's of course it's not real safety. Our only safety lies in God, but you do tend to feel like, oh, if you know you're getting a paycheck every month, like, okay, you're good. You have this sense of safety. And I could really get very scared if I wouldn't have enough like gigs or workshops or anything planned, and I wouldn't know where the money would come from. Even like living in Holland, like you're not gonna die here if you don't have any money. You can always ask for funds or whatever it is, but there's still like deep like just this fear of like lack, and like this belief in lack and belief that I'm not being provided for, And, that for me, it really shifted when I was working on The Light Has Come, to really see like, oh my God, I've been saying all these years that I'm working for myself, but I'm not working for myself. I'm working for God.
Right. I know.
I'm working for the Spirit.
Yeah. It seems obvious, but then
he's like the best boss you could ever have. And just really remember, like, what is guided is provided. That David always says that what is guided is provided. And I love that, because then it's just like with the Course in Miracles, like Judy is like my spiritual grandmother, and she tells me the most amazing stories. And she told me the whole story about how it went when she heard the guidance to or received, talk to Bill and Helen, and they told her that, she needed to be on board, and she was supposed to be the one to publish the course. And she told me how that went with, them not having money, and all of a sudden the moment that they aligned their purposes and they really said yes to it, and she really said yes to it, that this check of, I don't know how much, I forget how much, but it was like so much money, like the next day, their mail.
Make the commitment. I think it was like the first thing was like, no, where is your heart out? Make your commitment.
If it's guided, it's provided. So, and even for them, like, they never felt to market the Course in Miracles. They never did any advertisement for a Course in Miracles.
Right.
They just knew, like, whoever needs to find it will find it. And it's just trust. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think there was like, it just was all just as guided. It was just guided and handed over, and that's all that we
definitely. And that doesn't mean, by the way, that I don't forget, because I forget all the time. I can get stressed, I can get fearful, I can get worried. But once you have that sort of like anchor, and you've experienced, that the Course also says somewhere, like, you need that experience. It's like that anchor where you can always come back to. Like, it's okay to forget. But when we get anchor, we can come back. It's like, oh, we remember, like, no, but there is a different way. There is a different way to view this. I can live in trust. There is, my true safety lies in God, and not in money, and not in knowing the future, because we can't ever know the future. But yeah, it's okay to forget. I forget all the time.
I know. It's like, that's helpful. Thank you. I'm sure everyone will appreciate hearing that.
I can personally relate to like everything you're saying, like a business owner, and being like, where's the money gonna be? And I mean, even to like a direct connection like that, where when I give it over, I'm like, this is enough, like I need to just give this over, like things will just show up. And yeah, I mean, I had a specific thing even tied into Living Miracles and going to the Awakening to Love retreat last summer, where I was like, I felt the call to go, and I'm like, how am I going to afford this? I'm worried about it. I'm like, not necessarily about that, but about other things as well regarding money. And then as soon as I was like, this is enough, I had been in a car accident too. So then like, as soon as I said this is enough, the car insurance agent was like talking about a settlement, and I was like, okay, like this came in. So beautiful.
Wow. Beautiful. What is guided is provided. You don't have to like struggle for it or
it's really so profound. Even for this interview, we were like, okay, well, we've never done this before, and like, well, I'm here, I'm showing up, that's all I got. It's like and I've heard you say that before also, where it's like, basically I show up, I'm behind the microphone, and I'm ready, and that's really,
that's all you need to do.
That was it.
Just to show up. And I love that prayer from a Course that Bill received, like, here I am, Lord, like just that, here I am, Lord.
Mhm.
Nothing else. Like
Yeah.
I'm only here to be truly helpful. Undo the doer. I don't need to know anything. And
Yeah.
the spirit can, of course, use all of our skills, but sometimes it can even be in the way, because we can get into that. Oh, I know how it works. I'm a professional. I'm
Yeah.
this. I'm that. I have that a lot of time. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, it's just like, oh, all the spirit is wanting us to be is just to be this channel so that his love can pour through in whatever way, whether
Yeah.
it's through music or just through talking or through
Mhm.
cooking or through doing the dishes, like whatever it is.
Mm.
At any moment, we're all teachers. We're all teaching all the time.
Yeah. It's
Every
just
moment. There's not a moment where we're not teaching. We're always teaching the thought system of the spirit or the thought system of the ego. Always.
yes. In
So
every moment. Yeah.
yeah, in every moment. It's not just when
Mhm.
you're on the stage or something. It's everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Always teaching. And
Yeah.
then I love how it says like teach only love, for that is what you are, and teach
Right.
what you want to learn, because
Mm.
what you're teaching, you're strengthening in your own mind. So what do you want to learn? What do you want to strengthen in your mind? Do you want to teach?
Yeah.
Do you want to learn something that like, yeah, do you want to learn,
Yeah.
like we
Do you
always
want to teach
like the
suffering or
ego
do you
always
want to teach
wants,
right? Yeah.
yeah, the ego always wants to make someone else guilty, right?
Yeah.
Guilty
Right.
of that. So like, no, it's
Always
his fault. He
pointing.
should have done this. He should have done that.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is like you're just teaching yourself that you're guilty and that you're not good enough. And it's like that
Mm.
thing of like when you point a finger, it's like three fingers
Are
pointing
pointing
at
back. Right.
you. It's like that's
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah.
what you teach. You're learning what you're teaching. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful reminder. And for music too, for you, that is such a powerful. I know I've heard firsthand from people that it's just that they just listen and they just cry and they just let all the emotion up and it's such a powerful tool, I'm sure, which I'm sure you're aware, but um and I think so. What is that for you? It's like when you're out, when you're sharing it, is it an intensification? Or are you just in blissed out place because you're just being done through, like you were saying, like it's just about being allowing the spirit through in however it looks for each of us, and for you, it's music, and you just share. You just it's not. You wouldn't say it's. Would you say it's? It doesn't feel like it's you, where there's a struggle going on, or you're just step back and you just let it go, let it come through. Actually,
Right. Yeah. A lot of times that it is like that. And I feel like there's still this Neda that is next to it and that is giving commentary or, doing these,
Mm.
just saying these things. And then I feel like, especially with the voice liberation, there's just this very clear channel where I just hear what, like this, to say the right words. Like Eric, you saw the documentary, the Take Me Home documentary. Did you see it, or because you mentioned it? Yeah. And there's this scene with Soren, which is just so beautiful, where he was singing and it was just, did you see it as well, Jessica, or not?
did, yes, I
Yeah.
saw it at the Awakening to Love event.
Oh yeah. It's just
We
so
actually
beautiful.
we
Yeah.
actually ended up sitting next to each other. I didn't know Jessica really at that time, and that was like one of our first connections. Was we sat next to each other during the premiere.
Yeah, so there's this scene, right, with Soren where he was like singing, and I think he was singing like I want to trust or something like that. I want to trust. But the beautiful thing I feel with your voice is that it's so naked, so you can so hear when it's not authentic. You can instantly hear it. And that's how a lot of people that have most beautiful voices, but you don't really feel it. It's because and people that maybe don't have a great voice at all, but you can totally feel it, because if it's authentic and if we're expressing from a real place,
Right.
and you can feel that's the power of music, that of singing, of expressing, that it doesn't lie. It doesn't cover up anything. It's impossible to cover up anything. So you'll just hear it, how beautiful you sing or whatever it is, it's not covering up whatever is going on for real. So you could see it also in that scene that it wasn't inspired of him singing like, I want to trust. You could feel like, you're lying. You don't want to trust. It's not true. And I could hear the spirit tell him to say, I don't trust. And this was like at that retreat, actually, when they were shooting that documentary, that was actually one of the first times that I was doing this voice liberation, because I went to a school for that, like a 2-year education, Voice Liberation Academy. But that was a few years before this documentary was shot. And I was doing that because I was also studying. I was getting my bachelor's of music at the Conservatory of Rotterdam. And I was just really lost in that school, because it felt like it was just so much from the head, and I really felt like I was losing my joy in singing, and it was just all about performing and really high standard, and it felt so not right. And then this school came on my path, and it was just really for me. So I like finished my last 2 years of conservatory with these 2 years of the Voice Liberation Academy. And it was amazing. It was just for me. And I never did that to go and teach voice liberation. It was to liberate my own voice, because I was so stuck. But 3 years after I graduated from that, I saw that note from David Hoffmeister that he was doing that retreat. And there wasn't even anything about a documentary. It was just that month-long retreat. And I just heard so clearly, like, you have to teach voice liberation there. And I never did that before. I never did it. And it's just so amazing how it ended up to be such a big part of the movie. And even the name, I just wrote that song, Take Me Home, like 2 weeks before I came there. And I was like, oh, I just wrote a new song and I just want to sing this song. And they didn't have a name for the documentary yet. And I was just playing that song, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's the name for the documentary. And, you know, it was just all so clear that it was guided for me to be there. So this was like one of the first times actually that I was doing the voice liberation for other people, and seeing like myself being so surprised that I would hear the guidance so clearly. Probably also because for the first time, I was really not pretending like I knew what I had to do. Because I honestly didn't. So like it was so much easier for the spirit to take over. You know, I wasn't in the way. Which is the best thing that we can do, is to just step out of the way.
Yes.
So in that moment with Soren, I just heard so clearly, like, you know, tell him to sing I Don't Trust. And I could still have that voice. Really, you know, that's not good, right? That's not you're not supposed to say that. And it was like so clear, like, no, tell him to sing I Don't Trust. And yeah, you people can see when you watch the documentary, you see that shift in his eyes. It's like, I don't trust, and there comes this like joy, and you instantly feel like, yeah, this is authentic. You don't trust right now, and that's okay. You know, we can't, like I said, we can't bypass our feelings. So the moment we're authentic with our feelings and we express it, then there's a joy that gets to release, and then you can come to that point like, oh, but I want to trust. I do want to feel love, you know, but we have to acknowledge, we have to be honest with what we're feeling first. And yeah, the voice is just a great tool to get in touch with that.
Yeah. That's you know, what comes to mind too, just as you're sharing, is that scene, I think, was the most talked about and made the hugest impression on everyone that watched it. Was just like, wow, when Soren with his authentic self, authenticity, then it
because you can see the shift. It's just so beautiful to witness it, right? That it, and just from being honest, like just it's like what.
Because you can't relate. It's like, it's about looking and questioning everything. So good would it be to be like, I trust, okay.
Yeah. It's really showing that. I feel like almost every page of the course is just saying like we're only here to accept the atonement. Like we're here to accept who we are already. And indeed like to look on all the blocks that we have built against who we are. But in
Yeah,
order to do that, we need to look at those blocks. That's like really the spirit is only asking from us is to look, to shine so that the
look,
spirit can shine a light. If we don't look at it, like he can't work with it. So
yeah,
I feel like that scene is such a clear example of him looking at that belief of like I don't want to trust, like I don't, I don't trust, I don't, like that's I don't want to trust with like and the moment that he looks at that, the spirit can look together with him, because after all that was still the purpose of that session. Like we everyone knew that was still the purpose, otherwise he wouldn't have come, so there was still this purpose of wanting to return to love and wanting to wake up. So yeah, it's just amazing to see the moment that he dares to look at that and he gives expression to that as well. We're actually welcoming that, and with so much fun, right? It's so funny, and it's just it's a funny scene as well.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes like, I don't trust. No, I don't. No, I don't. And it's like almost like a musical type outburst.
Yeah, exactly. It became a rock song. Yeah. It's just amazing, and you're providing like a safe space too, which is invaluable. I think to be like, here we are, I have a keyboard and your voice, and that's what we're working with, and you don't need more than that, and you're just giving that to whoever you're sharing with, and giving them that gift that you have been given, and you're sharing that, and you're just giving all to all in that way, and it's like what an amazing thing to say, all you need is this and you can do it too. It's not like it's just for you. It's for everyone.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love that also, that it's so like we've all been given a voice, but there's just so much guilt, so much shame on our voice, right? We live in such a culture where it's like you can only sing if you have a beautiful voice. And I feel like with the voice liberation, we really get to see like, but there's just such a longing to use our voice because it's so liberating. I think we intuitively know, and you see little children also, they're dancing, they're singing, and then they stop at this point, but we intuitively know how liberating it is. But there's just a sense of like, no, I can't because I don't have a good voice. But it's not about singing beautifully. It's about releasing all of that shit, and our voice can be just so helpful for it.
Yeah. Very, yes. Yeah.
I mean, in that 2-year school that I did, there were like 20 people in my class, and there were only 3 of us that were actually singers. Everyone else were just therapists and psychologists and like just people with their own practice and just wanting to add the voice liberation to their practice. There were only 3 of us that actually had like a professional trained voice.
Wow. I'm so surprised to hear that. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, no, I have to say, when I did the voice liberation online with you, I think it was the first or second time you offered that for free to everyone. I have roommates and stuff, so I didn't feel like I could be like, whoa, that wasn't going to happen. But it still had a powerful effect, just with the visualizations and just like a quiet kind of a, It was I had lots of emotions and come up with the inner child visualizations and all of that. Was like, because that's like my earliest memory is singing as a kid by myself. And then I remember that feeling too of when an adult would come in or open the door, it was like, oh, don't let them see that I'm singing. Don't let them see me.
Yeah, something you have to do. You have to hide. And then when you're older, it's something you do either in the shower or in the car when you're by yourself.
Exactly.
With other people around.
Yeah. A lot of what I think you're doing is just giving permission and saying, hey, here we are. Let's let's let it out. Let that inner child, a lot of times is the symbol we use as inner child. Let your inner child sing. What does she need?
Yeah.
What does he need?
Yeah.
It's, I
Beautiful.
think it's beautiful. Yeah. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
So we were talking about Take Me Home a little bit, and I know that this weekend there's a retreat that you're going to be involved with some as well. Did you want to speak to that at all, and what your is there anything that has come in as far as like what your role is with that, or how is that
Yeah.
looking?
Yeah, I'm just gonna sing "Take Me Home." That's the
Okay.
thing that I'm gonna do for the
Right.
first time. I think in their since their retreats, I'll be singing the song, the theme song. And that weekend, I also have a different conference, like a it's not. I don't think it's like just a Course in Miracles conference, but Donald Neil Walsh is there as well, and
Mm.
Rupert Spira, I think his name is. But a lot of Course in Miracles teachers like Bob Rosenthal and Corinne Zupko and
Yeah.
Bill Free and a lot
The
of
Teachers of God thing, right?
Right.
yeah.
A
It's
new beginning.
new
World
beginning
Conference.
road. Yeah. So I'm there on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and on Saturday also I have the performance with David. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice full weekend.